Let's do some analysis on what happened over the weekend. Joining us live is Dr. Amachi Boateng of the KNUST and David Sopoku-Ansah, who is the NPP parliamentary candidate elect for the Imparso constituency. He contested against Seth Champion, who is on the Defense and Interior Committee of Parliament. Such a heavyweight. Thank you very much, gentlemen, for your time here on Newsdesk. Let me start with you, Mr. Ansah. Congratulations there, but what worked for you?
I think, first of all, I would want to give thanks to God. There's a God factor, and anywhere, any opportunity I get, I would want to drum home that message. That has been good to us. He delivered this victory, and we are grateful to God. I would also want to thank the delegates, those who voted for me massively, those who voted and those who did not. The NPP is victorious. It's instructed that we all come together and forge ahead and ensuring that we win the next election. So, Roland.
Yes, Ernest here, but the man you unseated, literally, is such a heavyweight. I'm wondering what message you put across to the delegates that made them sway in your direction.
I mean, it borders on the. First of all, I mean, for me, I have believed that in campaign, it's not just about your money or your message, but the machinery you put on the ground is very, very key. I think that was the advantage that we had. We had a very strong campaign team that knew the ground, that was not relying on lip service. We invested heavily in research just to understand the dynamics and the kind of change that people expect. And I think that led to the victory. So I would want to use this platform to say a big thank you to my campaign team. I think they did the magic. They did the magic, and I am grateful to them.
And hold on for me, Mr. Ansah. I'll come to you shortly to find out if you have the support of the outgoing member of parliament, because that is very crucial for your campaign going forward. And indeed, when you enter parliament, that's if you're voted for come December. But let me go to Dr. Amachi Boateng, who is also on Zoom with us. Doc, thank you very much for joining us here on Newsdesk. We have as many as 41 MPs losing their seats. That definitely has consequence for Parliament, even as they wrap up the 7th Parliament and going into next year for the 8th Parliament. There are some who have said that is why it is necessary that some people are not competed. But we are in a democracy and elections are necessary. Is there a middle ground to address this issue?
Thank you for the opportunity, and let me say good morning to your listeners. Actually, that is the challenge that our system faces. What really pertains in established democracies is that you don't have this number of people during the 4-year round trying to get a place in the legislature. It's not necessarily been the case. You have instances in several other democracies with a particular reference to that of the United States, where members of parliament are not necessarily seen in the constituencies. And even people make comments to that effect. I do recall the case of one, Ted Kennedy, the late Ted Kennedy. He definitely was accused of not sort of, seen in the constituencies until the time was due for elections. But there's something that I call stability in the party in respect of this issue. You don't have everybody every 4-year round trying to get a place in the parliament the way we are experiencing here in Ghana. And I'd like to believe that, it will be a similar situation in many other, new democracies. So getting a middle ground is going to be difficult unless the party itself can engage in a dialogue and come out with a generalized understanding. And I think this sort of understanding will have to, emanate from the grassroots. And if they are able to get some such understanding to really guide those who want to come in, how they should come in, who is to be contested and why, then definitely the party would have made some covered some grounds in respect of this issue. Otherwise, the way things are happening might even get off hand, given the fact that alternative opportunities for safe employment opportunities seem not to be available. I'd like to believe that is one of the factors. Okay. Given what really happens, people sell property, houses, to go through these parliamentary primaries, and they do that definitely with the hope of making good if they should get to parliament. So we have a challenge there. I think economic factors.
Do I hear you say it would be ideal for people to build their career to have some good economic standing before they even venture into frontline politics? Do I hear you say that?
That's not necessarily what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that currently the sort of turnover of parliamentary members of parliament appear to be getting out of hand. And like we just witnessing, over 40, incumbents have lost their seats. Yeah. What are implications? But to begin with, to interrogate even how they did lose their seats, we want to, simply be candid with the situation on the ground. The gentleman himself did speak to the fact that it's not only money that, if you deploy those resources and your message alone, then he speaks to what he called the machinery that he possibly might have, put in place to work for him. Why did he add money? Why did he add money? If I'm going to work for my country, I'd like to serve in the parliament. Why should I have to pay money to anybody? And we hear a lot of things did change hands. Very expensive equipment and large amount of money also changing hands. So coming to terms with what really happens to bring about change. So why did those incumbent people lose? Is it because they couldn't pay, as much money as possible? Or it is what has come to be known as their work, in the constituencies, unsatisfactory. What do we mean by work in the constituencies? What exactly is that?
And as we wrap up on this, Dr. Amachi, could it be because of how we have perceived and actually, carry out the role of the Member of Parliament at the various constituencies, so that you would have a fine brain, very committed to the work of the House, contributing to lawmaking, which is, the primary duty of our members of Parliament, but because they are unable to do the other things, and because they are also perceived as agents of change or development, at the district level, then that will be a challenge. Could that be the reason why you're seeing the attrition rate increase so much?
I think that is it, and there's confusion with regard to the work they are supposed to do in the constituencies. I think there's confusion there. We should come clear with the main functions of the executive, the representative of the executives in the districts, in the constituencies. And then we should also come clear with what the members of parliament are supposed to do. Essentially, Ghana is structured in such a way that, they are not the people who dispense money to bring about a development in the country, in the districts, in the villages, in the towns. They are not necessarily those agents. So if even during their own campaigns, they go out and make promises, to what extent are we able to hold them accountable, given that the political executive is there, the political executive is the controller of the public purse, and is the one that really every now and then goes out, sends the budget to the parliament to get it approved, and then is supposed to roll out the various programs. Yeah. If we see these members of parliament as facilitators, as people who should lobby, I think we should come clear with that. And then, in a way, also they will also come to those terms and simply proceed. In the absence of that, what really are the factors that bring about these changes? Is it the money they pay? They pay to the delegates. Is it
and definitely
buy for them fridges? I hear also vehicles.
A lot of things happening over the weekend, Dr. Amachi. Thank you very much. And the MPs themselves would have, you know, some role to play if this is to change. But let me quickly wrap up with Davis Opoku-Ansah, who is now the candidate-elect for Empire. So if you are still with us on the line, I just want to know if you have the support of the outgoing Member of Parliament, Seth Champon, and what that will mean for your campaign.
I come to that. Just to correct some impression that Dr. Amachi created.
Okay.
My reference to money is not one to induce the delegates. Certainly, in every election, you need money. I mean, you move with vehicles, you need to buy water, you need to buy food, and all of that. So my stressing on the money bit was not one to induce delegates. I'm sure that there are several places where money exchanged hands, but people still went ahead and lost. I mean, prior to this primaries, we also saw what happened in some other constituencies where even vehicles were packed, but those candidates still lost. So I'm sure that the greatest consideration for electing people to represent us, for me, has not always been money. It's about what the belief that people have in you. So just to correct that impression. Secondly, I've spoken to my Member of Parliament. He's assured me, given me its fullest assurance that he's going to support the campaign, and I'm grateful for that. I'm also very humbled and willing to learn from the chief and the party leadership in the constituency. Just to add a few.
And we wish you all the best as you start your campaign for the December polls. That is the NPP candidates for Impresso, Davis Opoku and Sada, joining us here on News Desk.